All right, let's get into aliens because the Three-Eye Atlas is behind the sun at the same time that the DC has shut down and grown dark for at least 3 days. And the illegal aliens are upon your nation. Trump is sending in the so-called military forces into Portland. You got the Antifa as that terrorist organization. So let's bring some things together in for us so we can understand as we look back in time about the so-called aliens from out there and the technology upon our world, the petrochemicals that's been put into the earth. We've been at the end time of one, and the millennium has opened up. We've been given this net into heaven, this window into heaven, the information, all these things as the consciousness of man is being opened up. It's also being seared into one little thing, and this is where those who have been given over to the delusion of this image of the naughty and nice, so-called, the devil and Satan and Jesus and whatever, okay? It's all being gathered up as the birth of a new one starts, and you have the seeds that were brought out of this so-called projection, such as the Gen Xers and the millennials and all these things, and they have been shown a whole different thing than what the generation was shown before, okay? A whole different type of TV, whatever. They were the boomers were shown this, we were shown this, and then this generation's shown this, and then now this generation, they don't have this so-called K-Bell, and as your K-Bell is here and gathering up that Bell worship, that Bell nation underneath that one, and they're doing another Bell and all those other things. Okay, so this is where some of us have taken and gone down these dark tunnels, and we come out on the other side, and you realize that the tunnel never gets smaller or whatever. It just looks like that from out here, and you have to be the one to take the first step down to that tunnel, and you get to so far, you're like looking back and like, come on, it's fine, but just go around. You tell them, just go around, go around. They can't hear you though. So some of us have gone down these dark tunnels, and we're on this other side, and this part of those rabbit trails, and going into the rabbit hole, and like the Alice in Wonderland and all those things, and defeating the queen and then come back out of it. And that's kind of like where Dorothy goes into Oz, comes back out of it, and that's where we're going into these times, comes back out of it. So and notice with Dorothy that kind of the first one, it goes back to the black and white, and then the other one, the 4-color keeps going, and as the 4-color keeps going, you have that. So that's where the black and the white and the black get divided up in the old America, and you have the new America setting up. But this so-called, we're living through the so-called such as was not since the beginning of the world. And since this biogenesis self-replicating mechanism has come on, and this Red Queen has come in and to gather up her colony and her hive, and she's going to come in and bring so much destruction and hate or whatever, as she brings the hate and the May anger for that manger and all those things next year, and the 24 of the 9/11 and the 24 and the 26 overlaps and the 48 and all that stuff that we've gotten into. But as all these things are collapsing, this is when that Red Queen has her red ants and all those different colonies come into battle and such. So and the red ants and the fire ants and all those things live in our nation. That kind of tells you where these energies are as far as the beast man and the beast structure and how these toroidal fields work. The Wi-Fi, the man being living liquid metal robots, us putting off energies, all these types of things, okay? We're told that the aliens are here as protectors of Earth. We're told that some of them are abusing Earth, some are using it for good, some are using it for bad. So this is where we can see like this overlay of this Anunnaki, the Lemurians, the Greys, whoever they tell us as far as these aliens coming in and trying to, where one is grown, the shadow people and all those things are growing to try and control this over here, while the others are going to come and save it in a way. But as these things kind of all come to battle in our world, this is where we're shown these things in the projection, where in the black and white, you have the black, the white, and then the alien civilization that kind of invades, right? And everything's nice, the Jetsons and all this other shit. And then it goes into where we have now, where it's the crazy stuff, the born on the 4th of July, and the aliens and all that stuff that can go for your 24/7 that I told you about, for your 7/4/250 clock on America and your those types of things, but with the illegal aliens. But this is where the aliens and the illegal aliens, all these things are coming to on the world stage through us, to where we have to have the eyes and ears to where they're saying, oh, he's Anunnaki, and know what the Anunnaki do to know what he stands for, or whatever kind of thing. And then these illegal aliens are coming in to help preserve this nation, as these so-called aliens or whatever on the American soil are here to preserve this kind of thing. And it's all here to start that purple party, where they take the blue and the red and divided by the white, the pure, what they call pure, and it's all blending in to make that purple party. So that's where it's all been developed and going into, and we're going into an all new age. And that's where you see the aliens here, aliens there. You have so-called alien people, because we are operated in light, and the aliens have chose certain individuals to operate through. And we've seen these things in the past with different people. As this window of heaven has been opened up, your TV in the 80s and 90s with people, channelers on channels that you watch, and all these things, as that cartoon Space Monkey is put upon you with your Hollywood projection and all those things. So those people who believe this rotating ball Earth, the heliocentric, the NASA model, the moon landing, the ISS, all those things, that ISS is all going to be gathered up, that delusional, to where you're going to have the other one coming in, okay? But it's where that old church, that old block system, the schools, the hospitals, the churches, all that kind of is going to peter in and peter out. Okay, and the Peter is the so-called Satan. That's where Jesus comes in, changes things. Satan comes in, changes things. We go from an old structure to a new structure. We've been under this structure where we're so-called the old generation, or the boomers and all, and we can change this country if we just get these people out of office in a way. But this is where as we get these people out of office, they're putting these so-called people like J.D. Vance and all these other white dark lights in there to finish this. And then the dark light you've been taught is going to be the black light, where you can't go into. And then the black light is going to be where the dark club is, and the dark club is where that dance music, the techno. The techno's, I'm hearing this beat. That's Satan, that's Antichrist, and all the stuff. Okay, so and that's all these things where the world just keeps ticking by in this manifestation of Jesus, of Satan, of evil, of good, of the new heaven, of the new earth is all upon us. But this is where the whole world is kind of just being taken and put there. Okay, that's where we're told about the times of Lot and of Sodom, where the people were left behind in Sodom, but also Lot was left behind, and then you had one who looked back and turned to the pillar of salt, and that's where you have the three-eye salt, and the three-eye salt is the tribulation salt, and the salt where you just get stiff and all those other things. So that stiff is the fucking dead man, where you've gone to that patriot of life, where you will surely die. And that surely is landing as that Bruce Lee turns the 85 Dragon, just for a little side trail on the rabbits. But this alien, the protectors of Earth, the abusers of Earth, all this kind of playing out as this a natural symphony. And we eat these parasites of Earth, we eat these parasites of man, as far as your petrochemicals, your antibiotics, all these things coming into a thing to gather this over the counter, or this takeover on America in a way, as the Hollywood takeover and that delusion takes them over, and it sets up a whole new whatever. Okay, so and then I'm going to do another video talking about the so-called alien and my personal experiences as far as life and just different dark lights. And I'm going to take those dark lights and bring them into a modern light so we can understand this personal light as far as how it overlays with the things that has been put upon the earth, and putting all these things together so we can understand the so-called alien invasion and the illegal alien invasion, as that Jesus and Jesus and that Jesus is put on the cross. Okay, and you start doing that blockchain and start whipping your neighbor with the chain. You dirty filthy